Jehovah's organization is deeply interested in our little ones. Parents, what do your children need most in these last days? And what provisions has Jehovah's organization made to assist you? We invite young and old alike to give undivided attention to Brother Daniel Sidlick as he considers the theme, Our Children, a Precious Inheritance. Brother Sidlick, please.
Consider the miraculous event that God made possible when the first child was born on earth. Both Father Adam and Mother Eve contributed a part of themselves that developed within Eve's womb into a fully formed new person. Down till this day, this still incomprehensible event is described as the miracle of birth. As a reminder of this miracle, for a moment, let us consider how a baby comes into the world. Within just 270 days, the fertilized cell that is produced within the mother as a result of her union with the father grows into a baby made up of thousands of millions of cells of more than 200 kinds. And just think, the original creation, or the original cell created from the mother and father, has within it the information needed to make all these different kinds of cells. Yes, according to some marvelous program beyond human understanding, these billions of cells of so many different kinds are produced in just the right order and manner to create a new living person. Amazing, isn't it? Who then could you say is the real maker of the baby? Surely only an intelligent creator. The Bible, psalmists sang at Psalm 103, "Know that Jehovah is God. It is He that has made us, and not we ourselves." How true that is. Parents, you well know that it is not because of any brilliance on your part that you have produced such a precious little bundle of life. There is no doubt about it. Only a God of infinite wisdom could be responsible for the miraculous formation within the mother of a new living person. Praise God for that. However, is Jehovah an unfeeling creator who simply instituted a process whereby men and women could produce offspring like themselves? Not at all. Please note the inspired Bible record at Psalm 127, verse 3. It says, "Look, sons and daughters as well are an inheritance from Jehovah. The fruit of the belly is a reward." As you ponder this text at Psalm 127:3, consider what an inheritance is and what it is evidence of. As an inheritance is like a gift. Often parents work long and hard to leave their children an inheritance. It may consist of money, property, or perhaps some especially treasured possession. In any case, it is evidence of the parents' love. Well, the Bible says that God has given parents their children as an inheritance. They are a living gift from Him. Would you say that your actions show that you view your little ones as a gift?
I'll get it later.
That the Creator of the universe has personally entrusted to you? Please take note of the attitude of Jesus Christ, who set an example for us. By the way He viewed children, He set an example for us, for parents. Let us consider how He did this. First, He took time for children even when He was very busy and under stress. During His final trip to Jerusalem, where He knew He would suffer and be killed, people brought little ones to Him. Mark chapter 10, verse 13 and 14 tells us that Jesus' disciples, perhaps in an effort to protect Him from further stress, tried to turn the children away. But Jesus reprimanded His disciples. He showed His love for the little ones, saying, as we read in verse 14, "Let the young ones come to me. Don't try stopping them." Jesus considered the little ones to be important. Think about this. When young ones come to us, how do we respond when we are busy? As Jesus did, what children need, particularly from their parents, is what Jesus was willing to give them: time and attention. It is true that such words as "I love you" are appropriate and important, yet actions speak louder than words. The truth is that your love will be manifest not only by what you say, but even more so by what you do. It will be shown by the care, time, and attention that you give to little ones. Yet some have questioned whether children really need a lot of their parents' time. A child-rearing concept that has been skillfully marked and that many have considered attractive is called quality time. According to advocates of the concept, children don't need a lot of time from parents, just as long as the time spent with children is meaningful, well thought of, and planned. But is quality time concept a good one? Was it conceived with the welfare of young ones in mind? One writer noted, "For many conversations, or in many conversations with children from pre-kindergarten to 6th grade, the kids overwhelmingly indicated that what they wanted most from their parents was more time, as in undivided attention." He also said that children are desperate to be seen, truly known, rather than scheduled or psychologized. How then, one might ask, did this quality time concept become popular? Dr. Lee Salk, a professor of Cornell University Medical School in the United States, observed, "The term known out of parental guilt." So the term has grown out of parental guilt. People were giving themselves permission to spend less time with their children. Why doesn't so-called quality time with children make up for the lack of quality or quantity? An important reason is that parents teach their children most powerfully by example. And setting a good example takes time, large amounts of it, not just small packets of it. The New York Daily News put it this way: the problem with the quality time concept is that the key moments between a parent and a child, the conversations and decisions that instill security, values, and self-esteem are spontaneous. No one can schedule a spontaneous moment. A parent may set about 15 minutes of scheduled or supposedly quality time to spend with a child, but who is it to say that the parent and the child, with each a good rapport during that time? And how will the child learn by example if those are the only minutes in the day spent with the parent? Jesus made sure that his disciples had plenty of time to learn from his parents. Besides teaching them, he ate with them, traveled with them, and even displayed with them, or he even relaxed with them. Young ones also need plenty of time and attention from their parents. In addition to the young giving your parents or your children generous amounts of time, what about showing them affection? Putting your arm around them and hugging them. Is this appropriate? Look again at Mark chapter 10 and note what Jesus did with the children who came to him. Verse 16 says, he took the children into his arms and began blessing them, laying his hands upon them. How do you think the young ones responded? Surely their hearts were warm, and they were drawn to Jesus. If there is affection and love between you parents and your young ones, they will truly and more readily be instructed. Please turn to Deuteronomy chapter 6 and consider the amount of time that parents are urged to spend with their young ones. Verse 7 urges you, parents, to speak with your children. When you sit in your house, when you walk on the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. What can you learn from this? Well, just as children need time of food, need plenty of time for food and sleep, and to be healthy and physically, they need lots of time with parents in order to benefit from parental example and teaching. And remember, good teaching includes attentive listening and genuine interest. So never put off an inquiring child with a gruff, "Go away. Can't you see I'm busy?" If you really are busy, tell the child you will discuss the matter later and stick to your word. This way, the child will sense that you are interested in him, and he will readily confide in you. But simply spend time with children, or even speaking with them, is not all there is to rearing them successfully. Foremost is the matter of what is taught. When we look at Deuteronomy chapter 6, and notice in verse 6 and 7 that the account shows what should be taught. It says these words, that I'm commanding you today, you must inculcate them in your son. What are these words? that children need to be taught. Certainly, they include the words in the preceding verse 5, namely, you must love Jehovah your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your vital force. Regarding these words, Jesus said in Mark chapter 12 that they are the most important of all of God's commandments. So parents need primarily to teach young ones about Jehovah God, explaining to them why he alone is worthy of our whole soul love and devotion. However, these words that God's servants are urged to teach these children include more than those of Deuteronomy 6:5. In the preceding chapter of Deuteronomy, chapter 5, you will notice that Moses restates that the laws that God wrote on tablets of stone, namely the Ten Commandments, these laws or commandments include the ones not to lie, not to steal, not to murder, not to commit adultery, and so forth. Parents of old were here impressed with the need to impart moral values in their children. Christian parents today must provide their children similar instruction in order to ensure a secure, happy future for them. Note too that here at Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 7, parents are instructed how to teach their words or these words or commandments to their young ones. Notice that it says, you must inculcate in your son. What does that mean? According to Webster's Third International Dictionary, the word inculcate means to teach and impress by frequent repetition or admonition, urge on, or fix in the mind. So God is, in effect, telling parents to institute a planned program of Bible instruction that has the express purpose of impressing spiritual matters on the minds of their children. Such a planned program takes parental initiative. Note here in verses 8 and 9 of Deuteronomy chapter 6, the admonition of parents about inculcating these words of instruction in their children. We read, you must tie them, these words or commandments of God, as a sign upon your hand. They must serve as a frontlet band between your eyes. And you must write them upon the doorpost of your house and your gates. Are the parents being told literally to write God's laws on doorposts and gates, or tie a copy of them on their hands, or to place them between their eyes? God's people in ancient times generally did not understand or apply this commandment in that way. Really, however, the message is that parents should consult deep and constantly keep the teaching of God before their children. This should be done in such a regular, consistent way that it is as though God's teaching are right there before them all the time. How early in a child's life should parents' instruction begin? The Apostle Paul wrote regarding his young missionary companion Timothy, as recorded in 2 Timothy 3:15, from infancy you have known the Holy Scriptures or holy writings. Yes, Timothy had received spiritual training from babyhood. Indeed, from as far back as Timothy's memory could reach, his mother Eunice and grandmother Lois had taught him the Scriptures. Some parents today read, talk, sing to their children, or to the child even before birth. Very likely the child in the womb benefits from the soothing voice that it lovingly and its loving tone. Later, after birth, the baby begins to comprehend words, perhaps much sooner than you might think. Remember, only in 2 or 3 years, a baby learns a complex language just by being exposed to it. And some babies learn more than one. Obviously then, young children can, at the same time, learn the pure language of Bible truth if they are effectively taught it. No question about it. Very young children can absorb a huge amount of information and can retain it if it is repeatedly impressed on their minds. For example, a mother from Canada wrote, "One day I was reading from my book of Bible stories to my 4.5-year-old son, Sean, and as I paused for a moment, I found to my amazement that he began to continue the story word for word as it appeared in Bible Stories book. I tried another and then another, and he had memorized every one. He has actually memorized word for word the first 33 stories, including difficult names of places and people. Isn't that amazing? The many colorful pictures in the Bible story book grab the child's attention and assist the child to remember what is read. The more a child's senses of sight, hearing, and touch are involved, the more he will enjoy and thus remember what is taught. One father noted, when the children were younger, we crawled on the floor, banged pots, wore pan covers as helmets, and swung kitchen ladles at one another to act out famous Bible characters in historic times. And the kids loved it. That's something to do, isn't it? What things have you done to impress your little ones? What things have you done to impress these words, the teaching of the Bible, on your children? One father helped his child visualize the resurrection of Lazarus. How? By going into the closet and emerging as the resurrected Lazarus. Others have impressed on their little ones the magnitude of Noah's Ark by going on to an outside area, staking out the size of the ark. The need to teach our children cannot be overemphasized. Remember, in the Garden of Eden, Satan directed his attention to Eve, not to the older, more experienced Adam. Should we not expect Satan today also to pick on the most vulnerable of our children? Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 12 indicates how we can protect our children, saying, wisdom is for a protection. But to get wisdom, one must first receive knowledge. So we can protect our children by teaching them what they need to know. In this sex-obsessed world, children need to be taught what is proper moral conduct. And of course, they face many other sensitive and complex issues. For years, parents have been asking for help to do such teaching. A recent letter noted there isn't anything in between the Bible story books and the Young People Ask book for the parents to use to counteract Satan's designs for the 6 to 10-year teenage group. Another one said, I don't know any other publication that helps shape our young child's mind or our young children's mind and heart as much as listening to The Great Teacher, a book released 32 years ago. An age overseer urged, let's reintroduce The Great Teacher. Our families need it. The principles of courtesy, manner, respect, responsibility, dependability, work, caring, and love are only a few of the fundamental truths that are taught in The Great Teacher book. Children, remember it. He concluded by appealing, would it be possible, realistic, or practical to reinvent The Great Teacher book? This overseer's letter was received in Brooklyn. A new book entitled Learn from the Great Teacher had already been prepared. And now it's my pleasure to introduce this to the convention, the Great Teacher book. Beautiful piece of work, brothers. Look at it here. Can you see it? Receive your copy, Learn from the Great Teacher, which is the name of the book. You will see that it provides what many of you have been asking for. This includes providing for an opportunity to discuss with your children what many of them, even at a very young age, often wonder about. That's sex. We should remember informing children about sex does not take away their innocence, but can protect them from losing their innocence. Chapter 5, when discussing the birth of Jesus, the book addresses the subject of where babies come from. Then in chapter 10, when discussing the wicked angels who came to earth and fathered children, the question is asked, what do you know about sex relations? After allowing opportunity for a young child's comment, the book gives a simple, dignified question or answer to the question later in chapter 12 entitled How Jesus Was Protected describes how Jehovah intervened to protect his son Jesus when Satan's agent on earth tried to kill him. Then the chapter explains how children can be taught to protect themselves from sexual predicators. Picture. Pictures can teach a lot. This is shown by how much little ones have learned from the Bible storybook, which it's more than 125 pages. Over our new 256-page teacher book, this one here, of the same size of the Bible storybook, has more than 230 pictures in it. And there is a caption or description for each picture or group of pictures. Most of the 168 captions are in question form, and the answers to the questions can be found on the same pages as the picture. Many enjoyable sessions can be spent with children, simply looking at the pictures and answering the questions connected with them. Throughout this book, there are many well-placed questions followed by a dash, just as is found in the Great Teacher book. The dash is a reminder to pause and encourage the child to express himself, which children soon learn to enjoy doing. Satan's attack on our children have become more intense as this system draws to a close. The Apostle Paul wrote in 2 Corinthians 2:11, "We are not ignorant of his designs." Our new book explains how certain television shows and movies, as well as computer and video games with spiritistic overtones, can influence the young. It also discusses basic Bible teachings more fully than the Great Teacher book. For example, the book repeatedly makes clear that God and his Son are distinct from each other and thus are no part of a Trinity. It explains why we grow old and die, and the condition of the dead, and what the soul is, and what hell is, the grave. It includes a fine, simplified discussion of the ransom. It teaches about the resurrection and why only 144,000 are resurrected to heavenly life. In particular, this new book highlights God's kingdom, explaining what it is and showing that all followers of Jesus, including the young ones, can tell others what they know about it. What to do in this hostile world can be a challenge. So one chapter shows how we can overcome our fears, which the Apostle Peter had to learn to do. There is a chapter entitled, How to Make God Happy. It discusses the issue of universal sovereignty in a way the children can understand, showing how even young ones can make God happy and prove the devil a liar. At the same time, a new teacher book retains teaching of Jesus that were covered in the old great teacher book. These include his teaching on being kind, saying thank you, serving others, sharing what we have, loving our brothers and sisters, not being prejudiced because others are of another race or nationality, and many other lessons that Jesus taught. But New Book does more than tell about the teachings of Jesus. The pictures show both parents and children how they can practice them. Parents, do you feel that this new publication is going to be a help to you in teaching your children? Our children are precious. They are deserving of all the time, attention, and effort that we can give them. Believe me, they are. They are young for such a short time. Take advantage of every opportunity you have with them and to help them. You will never regret it. They will come to love you. Always remember your children are God's gift to you. What a precious inheritance they are. So treat them as a gift from God, as though you are answerable to God for how you rear them, because in fact you are. Brothers and sisters, your children, bless them. Jehovah gave them to you, even as we do know that to be true. Treat them with all tenderness that you can, and may God bless you.